Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do get started, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku. Now, Deku and his party have all reunited. They were quite surprised to see how he's changed after Theodore's training. And Izuku, yeah. When they went to the tavern to have a drink and get some food before heading out, they all talked. Deku revealed that he knew more about the world. Theodore not only has been training him and teaching him in combat and magic, he's been teaching him about life in this world. Deku's had to deal with curses. He's had to fight monsters. And this, he does understand. It's hard to grow a thick skin, but it is necessary in this world. He signed up for it. He is trying to do what he can to help people. But unfortunately, the lesson he's learned because of this is simple. Some curses exist in the world that are far too powerful to get rid of. Some are manageable. Some you can handle. But some will chip away and slowly eat at the soul. Some can overpower a person. And all that's left to do, all that you can do, is grant them mercy. That's what Deku is currently embarking on a journey to do. He got a new bow at a shop along the Quiver of Arrows. When they went back to the castle, he talked to King Solomon, who told Deku about a quest that they want him to embark on. His advisors want Izuku to go out and fight a dragon, bring back a horn, and show the court he is worthy of his title of hero. And Deku, yeah, he's not too sure how he's going to handle that. But right now, he does stand in a forest. He spoke with the chief of the Elven village, and their reward, 25 silver, is to grant mercy to somebody afflicted. And Deku finds himself currently standing in the clearing with his bow drawn, a large tree to his back that does have carcasses strewn above, along with somebody currently rushing towards him who's afflicted by this curse. And Deku, he does go to fire his bow. The person rushing at Deku as they do to go down on all fours, rushing at him as he does a quickly go to draw again, pulling another bow and going to string it back, before he has to fire it out and has a smash directly in to their shoulder. The person bringing their hands up and going to swipe at Deku. And Deku does go to drop the bow with his left hand before he does go to throw up his right, grabbing the bow and going to switch it. Before he does go to create a barrier that the person they do a slash against, punching into and cracking the magical barrier. Them quite alarmed where they just don't hiss out, burying their fangs in Deku does catch the serpent eyes. As they do go to lunge backwards in for Deku, here's a swipe forwards, stepping in and going to try and strike them with the side of the bow. Them quickly lunging backwards as he does go to quickly turn, setting the bow down towards the tree, before going to draw his sword and swing it around, holding it in one hand and getting ready with his left hand. And the person, they do go to stand there, before they do hiss out at him and get back on to 2 feet. And Izuku, he does stare at them, well aware as to what he's facing off against. The glowing symbol on their forehead, and the way their eyes do pour with power. It tells them much. They can't be reasoned with. They're not speaking, they've gone animalistic. All traits showing off they've gone far. Though, the curse hasn't taken full effect. There is still time for them to be saved. Deku stepping in, before leaping forwards and going to fly towards them, aware that he doesn't have much time. He doesn't know how long they've been in this state. A few more days, and it might take full effect. They've been able to fight it for long enough. They're strong. He's aware of that. Deku swiping down as the person they do to bring their hand up. Them trying to grab the blade as they strike it with their claws. Deku feeling his sword go overhead as he does go to do one thing. The person leaping forwards and going to bring their hands up. Going to blast out dark magic at Deku as he does go to bring his hand up, creating another barrier. Him going to, as his sword is overhead, let go. It being sent flying backwards as Deku does a bring up his right hand. Him going to fold his hand together as he does going to point his fingers out. Before he has a blast out ice magic, and the person they do have the darkness in the ice begin to meet. It going to begin to cancel each other out as Deku does begin to freeze over their magic. And he does stand there. Before he does go to lower the barrier and bring up his other hand. Before he does go to send a gust of wind flying forwards with the left hand. Him casting out as the creature does it send flying backwards. It smashing into a tree before Deku does see that. Before he does a turn, bring his hand up and going to express. Currently saying an incantation as his mage hand does a fly out, grabbing the weapon and flinging it towards him. Deku going to turn and go to step to the left, bring his left hand out and grabbing the sword. As he does, go swing it back around and hold up his right hand. The creature going to climb to its feet and begin to stare at Deku. It roaring out as everyone in the nearby area, they do get to hear this. And Deku does a step in, make his way towards the creature. And whenever Oliver, who was nearby, does begin to run towards that sound, he does hear some clanking sounds. It sounding like steel against steel. And currently he does get to run up on the scene, going to draw his weapon as Deku does a swing his sword down and as a clash with the claws of the creature. Deku going to quickly flatten his sword and just swing it back out again. The creature going to slash out with his other hand and making his way towards Deku, slicing against his chest plate and sparking the area. Currently, Deku going to move backwards and bring up his sword. Before it is a rush at him and Deku does a step forwards, bringing his foot up and kicking them in the chest, sending them flying through the air and smashing into that giant tree. It being sent knocking over and partially uprooted. And Izuku does go rushing forwards, going to switch his grip as he does a grab up on the upper part of his hilt and hold the weapon, moving in as the creature does get back up. And Deku does go to watch it begin to move towards him. This time it going to begin bringing its hands up and saying something. Deku seeing that and aware that this thing might have been more powerful than he thought. And it does go to bring its hands up for a lot of magic is flying at Deku. Black flames flying towards him. And Deku does ignite his sword and slash upwards, him slicing through the fire with his own. Before he does go step in and continue moving. Him getting up close for he does stab this creature to the tree and pin it there. Him bringing his hand up and go to punch out at it. However, it does dodge and avoid Deku's punch, which would have taken out the head. It going to spit sling into Deku's face, and Deku, he does go to step backwards. Bring his hands up as his eyes do get covered in poison. And this, it does alarm him. Deku bring his hands up and someone's screaming. Before he does go to look back up and try to get a sense. When the creature, it does go to rush towards him, his blade still in his chest. And Deku, he does go to bring his hands up before he does a step up. Him going to throw them out and smashing both of them directly into something. Him feeling something begin to break under his weight. Before he does go smashing this creature back into the tree and going to hit hard. Before he does imbue his fist with ice magic. And the creature, it does begin to freeze over. Roaring and screaming at his Deku, his vision does somewhat fade. And this, it is not good. Currently, Oliver hearing a noise and turning. Before he does see something that does concern him. Right now, him going to turn and shout for Izuku. 2, stay here. Next a turn, alarmed hearing Oliver. Currently, him bringing his hand down and going to try and find his blade. Trying to read the mana in the area. He can feel that creature in front of him. It does still live. Not good, not good. Deku bring his hand down. Going to try and find his water skin and going to bring it up. Before he does, going to pour the water into his eyes and beginning to try and sit there for a second. Okay. That hurts. Jesus. He can't see. It's blurry. Okay. Deku going to look up. And the creature, it does still feel alive. He can hear it, sense it. Its mana is still there. That hate, that malice. And he does get a turn, finding his blade and bringing it up, before striking down the cursed individual. And he does go to sit there, before he does begin to feel the mana disperse, along with energy beginning to flow somewhere. And he has a turn, seeing a streak of light that does go to leave. And this, it does bring a soft smile to his face. And Izuku does a turn, yelling out for Oliver. And Oliver, he can't hear him. Deku trying to just think, closing his eyes and trying to focus. Feel the mana. Know the area. The ground is solid. No one's using magic on it. He can't hear anything. Wherever Oliver is, he's out of his range. What did he chase? Where did he go? Shit, is he in trouble? Damn it. With his eyes, he can't do anything. Deku turning. And right now, as his eyes are closed, he has a stare at the tree. Currently, it heavily damaged, but mana still flowing through it. And Deku, he does it to walk over, bring his hands down, and begin to use small amounts of fire magic, going to defrost the ice that pinned this person to the tree, grabbing their body and slowly going to move them away from it, before he has to lay them down carefully, turning back and trying to get a sense for the area. He can't hear anything. Can't sense it? No, that's not the case. Nothing in the area. Okay. This is... What's that? Deku turning. Before he does, gonna sense something watching him. And this isn't good. Whatever it is, it's hiding among the trees. Deku turning and bring up his hand. As right now, he does go to open his eyes. It's still blurry. However, he can make out the outline of a person in the distance. It's hard to see. There's something moving over there. He can't tell if that's just his eyes or if that's what it is. And it does concern him. Before he does, go to turn looking back towards the tree, going to slowly climb to his feet and make his way over, bring his hands up and going to try and find it. Bring his hands onto the bark and feeling it, before he does a turn, grabbing and running his hands up and finding one of the branches, before he does go to break it off. Deku going to look around. Right now he does try to prune this tree. Get these carcasses off of it. Get everything off of it. This thing, it's still alive. He's still in the Druid's forest. This thing, it's one of theirs. Though it has been sullied by a curse. Right now, this is the least he could do. Make sure he doesn't leave this place worse off than he found it. And that Deku does begin to do. And by the time Oliver does come running back up, he does it to find Deku. Currently, him sitting there with his hands on the tree. And mana does get a flow from his hands. as the tree, it does begin to root deeper into the ground, and branches, they do begin to somewhat break and crack before new ones do begin to start branching off. And Deku, he does look up, feeling much more life from this thing. He has a slight smile before turning, hearing a whisper and going to stand, bringing up his weapon and looking off in a direction. Before Oliver does go to slowly approach, him going to take another step as Deku says don't turn, bring his weapon up, and Oliver does go talk about it. It's him. Calm down. Calm down. Is he alright? It's hard to see. Where are you? I'm in front of you. Deku turning to his left, before telling him. He knows. It's difficult. He can't find the right potion. In his bag? Right. Him making his way over. Before he does go to hand Deku a potion, and Deku does go to bring it up. Him going to pour some into his mouth before he's to bring it up to his face, currently pouring it over his eyes and beginning to start blinking. And the area does begin to heal. Him blinking his eyes before turning and telling him, that was not fun. Okay. Where did he come from? What do you mean? Deku closing his eyes, before he's going to turn and hold up his blade, talking about how there's something over there. You sure? I think so. I could sense it. Though, hang on. Deku going to have his eyes begin to glow, seeing the amount of points he does currently have available. And this does mean a bit. Improve his reflexes. His senses? Maybe. Though, maybe he should spec in a poison tolerance. Try and build that. This wasn't good. Deku going to put 2 points into that before he's going to watch it go to level 3. And this is where Deku it does going to begin improving his senses. Before the area, he is going to pick up a little bit further in distance, putting 5 points into that before he's a turn. And he does go to talk about it. This is interesting. What do you mean? We're being watched. Yeah, you said that. What are you talking about? I'm saying that I can see them. Well, not see them. Listen, I have more points. Though, I'm not sure I should spend them just yet. Should we confront them? No, Izuku, don't. What do you mean? I tried to do that. There was someone else here. Right now, I think it's best we leave. You do? I do. I don't think we're supposed to be here. Let's just take this person and go. Him turning, walking over before he does a talk about it. He'll grab them. Though, those branches over there. If he's gonna leave them, that might not be a good idea. What should we do? I don't know. I'm gonna turn, before addressing, that right now they plan to take this and leave. If they're listening, no, they didn't mean any harm. They will leave this place now. And there is where someone does get to speak, expressing, Deku turning and hearing their voice. It is best that they do so. Leave this place now, and they will handle the rest. However, you. Deku turning, before he does go see somebody step out. Them with a strange look to them. Eyes that do glow orange, like amber, and hair that is bright and red, almost glowing in the night sky. And they do go to bring their hand up, pointing at him, expressing that he has broken a rule of the forest, and that what he's done is interesting. And the person does get a turn, stepping in and trying to tell the druid that this is Izuku. He was chosen by, I know who he is. The forest has ears. Our people listen. We know who this one is. Powerful magic, interesting heart. You have broken a rule, but you have tried to help. This will be taken into consideration. Them bring their hands up before they do express they have much to consider, many things they'll need to talk with their leaders about. However, judgment will come. Hopefully, them bowing, expressing to Izuku, they will seek mercy for him. And Deku's gonna watch on, the person turning and going to disappear into the forest. Him not even seeing them step behind a tree. They just walk in, walk in, they're gone. The shadows take them. And that does mean a bit. Deku and his group going to quickly make their way back to the city. And when they do, the elves, they're quite pleased with what has happened. This person here, unfortunately, they lost their life to the curse. However, they will be buried here and they will rest. The chief does get to pay Izuku, and he even has offered lodging to them inside the village for the night. Since, with Beast running around out there, it may not be properly safe for them to camp out there. And if a cursed individual was out, that must mean that the nocturnal creatures might be out there as well. In this, it doesn't surprise any of them. They do to stay the night. And Izuku, he does think about it, somewhat sitting in his room. He's reading through a book. He's trying to just think. Him bringing his hand up and casting a small barrier in front of him. Before he does stare at it, trying to think of its shape. Circular. That on his mind. Watching as it does sit there, almost like a small little disc. Bringing his hand up and touching it. Aware as to what he needs to do. Upgrade the spell further. Do a lot more. Train, and train. This on his mind. His mind can't find sleep. His eyes do still kind of have a dull thumb to them. It's not good. And Deku, he does step out. Currently, him standing outside and swinging his sword. Thinking about a lot. Going over a few things. And the guards, they do get to pass by the area. Some carrying spears, others with swords. And when they do see Deku standing there, he does go to swing his weapon through the air. Him slashing to his left, bringing it up and slashing from right to left, before he is to hold his weapon. In this, it does sort of intrigue some of them, seeing the odd style that Deku does go with. Before Deku, he does sense something. Turning and looking up, and he does see a strange green glow. It flying overhead, almost like a mist. Before he has a turn, walking over and going to set down his blade, leaning back against the wall. It's odd here. He just got a lot to think about. This on his mind. He does get a little bit more training in before he does go to tire himself out and head to bed. The next morning, Deku does go to wake. Currently, him sitting up and going to turn. Bring his hand up and trying to find his water skin. Before his hand does land on something, and Deku does hear crumbling under his fingers. The material is, Someone jumping up. Before he's at turn, and find a strange note. It's made of uh, paper. No, this is rougher. This is some sort of animal hide? But the inscription. Huh. Okay, this is odd. Dear hero, we are the land people, those of the trees, of magic and earth. You have broken a taboo of ours. You have committed a grave crime. However, what you have done, your gentle nature, your heart, and from our observations, you did not intend harm. The tree you have messed with, it was in a state of death, close to it. You did not have to, but you helped. You ripped it and tore it, but you fed it your own mana. You restored it, and, in fact, from our own observations, it looks to be in better condition. Our people know that land is sacred, and to us it means quite a bit. The elves of that village know not to touch the tree. However, you have saved it. Deku going to turn before he just sees something sitting right next to his cot. He does go to grab it before he is at turn. Oliver going to somewhat begin to stir as he does hear Deku jump up out of his bed. Right now, him making his way over and shaking him fully awake. Before he does talk about it, Oliver, what's happening? Are we under attack? No, we're fine. That tree yesterday, the druid. Shit. What happened? Deku holding it up, telling him he was given this, and there's a note. A note? What are you talking about? Huh? Let me see. I'm gonna bring his hand up, grabbing this strange bracelet before he's gonna let go of it. It hurting his hand, and he does it bring his hand up before he's to look back down at the device. You okay? Okay, that hurt. Talk to Pariah about that, or Rosa. Thing's freaking magic. Ugh, it's too early for this, Izuku. Listen, we gotta hunt, alright? Or, maybe they might have a little alehouse here that we can go to. I'll go hunt. Right. That does sound good. I'll join you in a minute. Just, get some practice in this morning and I'll be up. Alright? Deku understanding. And right now the two, they do to head out. The sun is already up. It was up 30 minutes ago. Deku, he does still think about this strange bracelet in his pocket. Pyra, she's probably up by now. And Rosa, she probably is meditating. He doesn't blame her. But, for now, he doesn't want to disturb her. Once you get deep in a thought, trying to recenter yourself, it does become difficult. Theodore has made sure of that. Though, this artifact, it might take up her entire time this morning. So, currently, they sit there in the forest, making their way down to a stream. And Oliver does get to point out something. Currently, them seeing a large creature that does sit there. It sipping water as Deku does get to bring up his bow. And some people do come walking up, many of the elves bending down to join them. Before they do to ask if they plan to have that one. Yeah, it looks strange. It's a big one, isn't it? Its furs would provide help for the winter. It does look like that. And it looks odd. I don't think I've seen a creature that big. Reminds me of a giant cat. A cougar? Does it? I think so. Though it's way bigger. Its fur's longer too. And its tail. I think it's gone. It looks like that thing survived some battles too. You got it, Izuku? Yeah, I should. Though, Deku pulling back his bow, turning and asking Oliver, letting it go and the arrow does it fly. Turning to him, asking if he does think that they know what it is. I'm not sure, Izuku. Listen, him turning, seeing the animal that does get to lie there, and some blood does get to draw from its neck, telling him, it's gonna be a bit complicated. That's all he really does know. He doesn't deal with magic items. He's more physical, if that makes sense. I know. I know. Though I'd like it to just be something good. I'm gonna walk over, and they do go to grab the creature, before they carry it back to the village and get it ready for a meal. Right now, going to skin it and take the meat they can. And Izuku, he does want to sit there, waiting for a few things before the group they do fully come in, and sit down around a fire. Deku holding up the parchment and the bracelet to Pyra. Her staring on and reading some of these words. Before Deku does see something on the back. It in a strange pattern-like language. Hers hearing about this, flipping it over, and somewhat having her eyes go wide. Before she's to talk about it. Well, that's interesting. What is it? Her walking over, sitting down to his right and leaning into him, holding it in front of him, talking about it. This is Elvish. They, of course they do. It's the language of old. This must be from their leaders. Really? What does it say? Izuku, read this. I can't. Okay, just try. This artifact is yours. Use it wisely. We are giving it to you as a show of faith. You honor us with restoring the tree. Okay. Deku hearing the way she just pronounced it, trying to do so as well. And she has to talk about it. This is made from powerful magic. Her going to hold it carefully up on her hand. Her feeling it, somewhat burning her skin, even through this strange rag. And she has to talk about it. Okay. He should put it on. It's got a symbol on it. It's strange craftsmanship. Good. It is. Deku holding it, and it doesn't burn. This confusing him. It's hurting everybody else. Deku going to bring his hand up and putting it onto his wrist. Boys a snap close and someone tighten. Deku a little alarmed and holding his hand up, before he has to bring his hand up and try and pull it. It loosening up as Deku does watch it snugly unwrap. The strange, dark metallic pattern on it. It looks like a glossed wooden bracelet. The band on it is amazing, but then there's the metal edges, the carvings, the patterns. Flipping it over and seeing the tree logo on his wrist, facing towards him, and the branches do go to flow out, them flowing towards his palm. And Deku just stare at that. Before he does bring his hand up, opening it up and gonna don't close it. Before would it does don't start speaking out, peeking out, them shooting a little bit from his hand as Deku does it to watch that. Alarmed and trying to grab the bracelet, but realizing that this thing might be some sort of trap. Before Pyra does see the commotion and come running up, watching as Deku does grab his wrist before he does stop. And Deku does stare at that. Before he does go to have the branches shoot back up again. And Deku does have little branches dancing around in his palm. This alarming her. Stepping quickly over and bringing her hand up, grabbing the bracelet as she was trying to pull it off, telling him that he shouldn't have done that. What do you mean? That artifact. Izuku, you've gotten yourself into trouble. Do you know what this is? It's a magical artifact, Izuku. I kind of figured that out. Though why did it hurt Pyra and Oliver? It's cursed. Oh. That's not good. Fine, I can just take it off. Deku pulling. Before she's to talk about it. Can he look at the artifact? Deku looking down. Opening his inventory as he's to have his system pop up. It informing Izuku. A word popping up. Curses. Right now it giving him a review. Telling him that right now he's been affected by a curse. And the curse, it is interesting. Telling Deku details. The wristband has a curse of binding. It will not come off. However, his affinity for woodland magic has been assessed. And right now, he has been given a powerful druidic weapon. Deku watching this right now, his skills tree, does it branch out further. It going to unlock and show Deku what this does mean. He's gained the ability to use woodland magic. And right now, he is affected with the curse of binding. This alarming him. Deku looking back down at his wrist, before closing his inventory and talking about it. Okay, so they gave him magic. They just gave you magic? It was about the tree. The tree? Izuku, that tree, what did you do? Deku telling her. Right now him not eating, as she does have her face slowly go from very worried to very concerned, before relaxing and then finally relief, telling Deku about what he did. He's lucky he didn't just walk away. Otherwise, there might have been real consequences. Yeah, I know. I am too. Though, I've got to call Sir Theodore. After breakfast, we gotta head out. Go to, wherever the dragon is. I understand. Though, we probably should learn more about this. When we do arrive, then it should mean quite a bit. Deku understanding. Stepping up to his feet and gonna walk away. Before he has to find his crystal and call Theodore. And the man, when he does to answer, he does go to ask Izuku about why he's calling him. They still have a few more days before they do have to meet back up. Theodore, I was curious about. Have you talked to King Solomon recently? I have. I talked to him yesterday. Though, why do you call? Oh, I needed advice for slaying a dragon. Slaying a dragon. That sounds like fun. Though, do you know what you're facing? Not at all. I have an idea, but I wanted to know. Know what? If you think I'm ready. Be honest with me. Do you think I can slay it? Hmm. Where are you heading to? I think we're heading east. I don't know the town name, but Oliver says he knows where it is. Though King Solomon said you might know a dragon to the north? Yes, I do. That's a long story. I'm sure it's pretty boring, and I'm not going to give you any details just yet. Though, if you're going to go slay a dragon, know what it is first. What are you dealing with? Does it breathe fire? And is it guarding something worth getting? What do you mean? If it's guarding something, then it's got to be worth it. They might have a hoard of treasure, Izuku. That's what I'm telling you. Dragons collect powerful artifacts. They're greedy, and some of them are damn down annoying. Though, if you're facing the one I think, then you should stand a chance at killing it. Stand a chance? I'm not giving you the answer to this question, Izuku. You have to fight. And, well, I'll be sure to see if you survive. Though, if you need me to hold your hand the whole damn time, that is unfortunate. Deku glaring at the man, and he does see that Deku does get angry. Him telling Deku, there's the warrior he wants to see. Stop second guessing. Going to hang up. And Izuku does go to suck a breath in and go to let a breath out, trying to calm his nerves, before Sir Theodore does get a turn back to the royal court, going to bow his head and throw up his hands, expressing to all of them about how he's been training the hero, and if many of them do still question him, then they can go right ahead and see what he can do. He is aware that the training in 2 months will truly define what they see in him, though he's prepared him to face that threat for some time. You truly believe he can do it? Trust me. I know where he's going. And that one, yeah. I do want to say someone did switch out the quest. The quest. You tampered with it? Trust me. What he's doing is going to show you something quite good. That boy's quite powerful. Him bringing his hand up, and everyone they do to watch as Theodore does gotta bring a finger up directly to his busted lip. Him going to run a finger along it, telling them all they shouldn't underestimate him. And this does make some of them go a little more eyes wide, shocked. As if what he's implying is true. This boy, he is powerful. Then again, they're trying to be. They're not trying to be. They're just trying to make sure he is what they expect before they just throw him at the enemy. They're apprehensive about letting this boy fight, especially if he's as young as he is. And it does still somewhat frustrate the court. However, they do have a little bit more faith in him now. And his group, they do get a ride for the city. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.